Hello everyone, this is Anton and you are on the Blackroom channel. It's not enough to just buy a cool TV of the right size, big, new, modern. It's also important to place it correctly at the right distance and secure it well. Today we will talk about this. Watch the video to the end so that your TV doesn't fall and break. The first factor to consider is where you will place, set up, or hang this TV, whether it's the bedroom, living room, kitchen, or for example, a child's room. The very first and probably important parameter here is to determine at what distance the TV should be placed. There is a rule that states that the TV should be placed at a distance equal to 2 to 3 diagonals of the TV itself. That is, if you have a TV that is, for example, 1.5 meters diagonally, then you should sit 3 to 4.5 meters away from it. Here everything is actually individual. If you go to the movies and like to sit closer to the screen, then choose a closer distance. Sometimes you may even want to place the TV closer than 2 diagonals, thus bringing your movie watching experience closer to what you see in a public cinema. And there is nothing wrong with that either. However, as a rule, the ergonomics of our standard living rooms, bedrooms, and children's rooms are such that you never sit that close to the TV. And we have not been accustomed to this since childhood. Therefore, 2 to 3 diagonals and this distance will be standard, normal, and comfortable for the picture to be large enough, while also allowing you to appreciate the beauty of 4K images. You can't always choose the viewing position for the TV in your room by moving the sofa back and forth. Therefore, I most often, to be honest, recommend that if you are choosing a TV for movies, take the maximum diagonal, even to the point that the distance to the screen should be equal to the width of the screen. This is roughly how cinematic content is created when the director and sound engineer sit and mix the spatial sound and actually edit the film. Therefore, if you are a movie buff, there is no such thing as a big enough screen for you. But if you are buying a TV purely for watching the news or some background shows like when you are cooking in the kitchen, then the most important thing is that it hangs where it won't interfere and won't, so to speak, get damaged. You won't have to choose a diagonal size and distance to this TV. You just need to hang it in a place you find, for example, in the kitchen or kitchen living room where you plan to install this TV. The second most important parameter is probably the height at which the TV is placed. This is often debated. Mistakes are frequently made here. One of those mistakes is hanging the screen too high. You can see examples where people place the TV directly above, for instance, the fireplace. Americans really love this theme. Placing the screen in their beautiful large living room somewhere above the fireplace, it always ends up being very high. And sitting on a chair, just being in this room, you have to tilt your head like this to watch it comfortably, or your head starts to get numb. This is an ergonomic miscalculation. And on top of that, the warm air from the fireplace, which can rise, can significantly damage your TV and lead to its demise. What are the main rules for calculating the height of the screen placement? If it's a home theater based on a TV and you have one row or one sofa, for example, against the back wall, then just sit down and look at the opposite wall where the TV should be. If you don't change your position while watching or playing a video game, if you just always sit, then ideally your line of sight should be somewhere from the middle to the first third of the screen's height. That is, it should hang slightly above your line of sight, meaning the middle of the screen. Once again, the middle of the TV should be either at eye level or slightly higher. And in that case, you will be able to watch this TV for as long as possible, comfortably, without straining your neck back and forth like this, and enjoy it. Here comes the next point. If you have recliner chairs like we do here in the showroom, and after a while you recline, you change your body position, and then your head position also tilts back a bit, and the comfortable line of sight actually rises. In this case, the screen should be positioned higher so that even in a reclined or tilted back position, semi-lying down, it remains comfortable for you to watch the screen. Or you should have a special headrest that extends, or you need to place a cushion under your head so that you can return your head to this position and still have a comfortable view, allowing your head to remain calm while looking at the middle of the screen or slightly below. This is a simple rule. This also applies to the bedroom. Where you have hung a TV for some reason, I am not judging anyone, but in my opinion, you should sleep in the bedroom or watch the news, especially at night. But if you really want to, you have hung a TV there, and you don't understand how to position it correctly, higher or lower, the logic is the same. Come, lie down as you would watch it and look at the wall. Just choose the most comfortable position, which will roughly be the middle of the screen or a third of it from the bottom. Another point may arise, like in the living room where there are many different seating areas, some of which may be behind others without any podium. You have several rows of seats, so to speak. This can also apply to the kitchen, where you have a round table and a TV that needs to be visible to everyone when something important needs to be watched. Then the heads of nearby people, your loved ones, relatives, may block part of the screen for you. And in such scenarios, if they often occur in this particular room, it is better to hang the TV higher, of course, so that if you suddenly need to turn something on and show it to everyone, you can turn around and everyone can see the entire screen. For this, the TV will need to be raised. There is nothing wrong with that because you will use such a scenario infrequently and will likely watch it for a short time. You will still be able to listen to the news in the background when it is hung high, especially since you will likely be standing, cooking, washing dishes, or just preparing for dinner. When a group of people tries to look at a screen that is hanging at eye level, some people will simply not be able to see the screen because it will be blocked by you or your neighbors. So it all depends on the usage scenario. If it is like this, sometimes it is necessary for everyone to see, then hang the TV higher where it will definitely be visible, like a main spot, roughly speaking, like a picture on the wall. A common question is whether it is possible to hang the TV so that I sit somewhere on the side and it hangs from the other side and it is also good and comfortable. No problem. If your chair is located somewhere in the corner and the TV hangs in the middle of the room, then that is your favorite spot, for example, where your desk is in the office, and it should be comfortably visible. You need to choose a special type of TV that will not distort or change colors at an angle. That is, it should have wide viewing angles. Roughly speaking, OLED TVs, especially modern OLED TVs with MLA OLED technology, this is the LG G3, for example, which I, by the way, talked about regarding this technology in one of the previous videos, then go ahead and definitely watch it. It has perfect viewing angles, around 165 or 170 degrees, at which it does not change its color at all. Old OLED TVs, for example, would turn pinkish. Regular QLED or just TFT LCD TVs have a strong tendency to change colors and color temperature when you approach from 90 degrees to the side. The color shifts significantly. It will be uncomfortable for you. Well, or you will have to make a special bracket that can be adjusted towards you to your royal spot in the corner of the room so that the colors do not change. Or just buy a good TV right away and then there will be no problems. You will be able to watch it comfortably at an angle. The same applies to the vertical tilt angle of the TV. If you are sitting significantly lower, you will want to tilt it towards yourself. If it is again of the technology that does not change colors when you look at it from below, then you won't have to suffer from that. It can hang straight and you will see everything like looking at it as if you were at a 90-degree angle. But if you have some old LCD TV that turns blue or black, you will have to adjust it on a special bracket to see everything as the content creator intended. And now about brackets and installation methods in general. Well, the simplest basic installation method, there is always some basic stand included with the TV that you screw on. Well, now all TVs are flat, just so you know, you simply screw it on and it allows you to place it evenly on some cabinet. This is the simplest free solution that comes in the box. If you already have a cabinet and it is at the right height when you place the new TV of the appropriate size on it, I wouldn't invent anything or take risks, nor would I chase wires in the walls, as this is also related to laying additional cables, etc. So I wouldn't create new difficulties for myself, just throw out the old TV, put the new one in the same place, and continue to enjoy. It's quick and works right away. But if you still need to mount the TV, if you plan to hang the TV in a specific place, and if your renovation has just been completed and a TV is planned there, then there is a whole range of brackets that are attached to a special factory socket. Every TV now has what are called mounting weight points. This is a universal international standard. 4 bolts that are located at a certain equal distance from each other. There are several standards. There are weights of 100, 150, 200, 300, and so on. Such mounting is for different sizes and weights of TVs. Essentially, it's a plate that you bolt to the back, and then this plate is hung on something, or it can be separate rods with teeth that latch onto a specific counterpart, like a kitchen, roughly speaking, hung on a special mount on the wall. There are countless options here. From the flattest, standard, and non-adjustable ones, where you simply attach one part to the TV, the second part is attached to the wall, and you hang the TV like a picture. And then you carefully secure it at the bottom with some fasteners so that it can't be easily pulled off. But in this case, you have no adjustments. Sometimes there is a slight vertical adjustment, but the simplest, flattest brackets, accordingly, do not have such adjustments. There are actually a lot of nuances here. There is a large number of brackets from different manufacturers. They all have their own specific logic. They have certain places where you can move these brackets up and down. On the TV, they can move up and down like this, thus adjusting its height. And then the counterpart that hangs on the wall, you need to clearly understand how this TV thing will sit on it, what gaps go back and forth, and where you need to attach this bracket to the TV so that in the end, it all ends up at the height you need on the wall. You see, there is a whole series of calculations going on, one relative to the other, and here, of course, it's better to call a master, to whom you can simply give the task. In short, the bottom of the TV should be right here. However you want, just hang it, and he should do it. That will be his task. Otherwise, you'll have to scratch your head a bit and run around with a ruler back and forth, calculate, add, and subtract certain shifts, gaps, and so on. I hung a TV twice in my last 2 apartments. You could say by myself. The last one I had help with because it's quite large, already 83 inches diagonally. They just helped me hang it. And there was such a bracket that I was really walking back and forth with a ruler, to the wall, back to the TV, to the bracket, back and forth. And in the end, I was only able to hang it, although I had already done all this in a 3D model, calculated at what height the TV should hang. But when the bracket arrived, the processing in my head started, and I almost had to take paper and do calculations on how much I needed to set back, so that in the end, it would hang at the height I initially envisioned as the ideal height for watching movies while sitting on the couch. And without going too far into various brackets, I want to mention that some TVs have a special mount to hang them as close and flat to the wall as possible. This essentially consists of certain grooves, and the corresponding part often comes with the TV itself, allowing you to hang it like a kitchen cabinet, so that if you look at it from the side, the gap is minimal. There are TV models that are only a centimeter thick or even less, and they are hung on super flat mounts. And even the cable that goes to the external sound block of the TV with the processor can be hidden under the wallpaper. Such a thing exists, and it hangs on the wall just like a poster. A very flat, thin, neat poster. It's stylish, cool, beautiful, and there is a very, very thin mount that is native to it. But the principle of these mounts is always the same. The counterpart, which fits into the back wall like this, specifically designed for this in several places. And there are, of course, special templates that come with the TV. You apply them to the wall, mark the wall, drill it, screw it in, and then you can guarantee that the TV will hang at this height and become a part of the interior, like a cool flat picture. What other types of mounts are there? Well, there are mounts that you can use if you have nothing to hang it on the wall, or if there is no wall at all, but you need to hang the TV here. There are ceiling mounts. They also have a weight-bearing angled mount, but they are attached to the ceiling. But most often, of course, we still hang the TV on the wall, and there are various mounts for that. Some allow you to simply move the TV forward, while others let you rotate it diagonally. There are mounts with all these adjustments at once. And there are mounts that allow you to rotate the TV clockwise and even place it upright vertically. And for example, to display some advertisements in your store, i.e. digital signage, you may have heard of it. These screens in shop windows work roughly like that. And there are also motorized mounts. You won't believe it. But you can hang the TV in a special niche, and then it will be closed with a special curtain. With the press of a button in a smart home, the curtain opens. The TV comes out, tilts, and faces your favorite spot in the kitchen where you like to have dinner, for example. You press another button and it goes back, the curtain closes. This also happens. Future Automation is one of the companies that makes all kinds of electronic mounts, but it can sometimes cost more than the TV itself. And finally, a couple of the biggest and most common mistakes people can make when they want to just take and mount a TV on the wall. The first mistake is choosing the wrong mount for the weight of the bracket that should be attached to the back of the TV. What is the mistake here? You can use bolts that are too long, and if you screw them in too much, they can pierce your TV right through. I've encountered such cases. So I've always been very careful, first gently screwing it in with my fingers, making sure it doesn't press against the matrix, meaning the mount is properly aligned. Everything is secured well to avoid any issues because it would be super frustrating if you just pierced your TV right through. The second most common mistake happens when you choose the wrong type of mount for the wall bracket. The bracket that is screwed to the wall. If you have a single layer of drywall and you didn't even hit the stud when securing it, the likelihood of your TV falling to the floor approaches 100%. So choose the mount wisely, considering the type of wall you have, whether it's concrete, brick, or drywall. If it's drywall, how many layers are there, and where does the stud run? There are special tools that locate the studs, so you can at least secure it to the metal stud with proper screws. Or special toggle bolts for drywall, which can handle and support heavy weights inside the drywall. For extra security, if you have GVL or GSP, it's much easier. you can directly screw into them with self-tapping screws. But be careful and call a professional to prevent this from happening. And just in case, make sure to watch this professional to ensure they use a simple construction level when hanging the bracket's counterpart. Because the TV can be hung slightly unevenly, and you will constantly notice it, especially if you are a perfectionist like me. Follow these rules, hang the TV, or place it at the correct distance at the right height and secure it properly to the wall. And this was Anton, the founder of Blackroom. Be sure to subscribe to the channel because there is a lot of cool content here related to TVs, headphones, home theaters, and professional home cinema rooms. Write in the comments about the mistakes you made in your career and life experience when installing TVs. Let's laugh together. Well, the main thing is that it shouldn't be like this. Although feel free to write about those cases too. Bye everyone.